Number 19B, discuss the role of women in the struggle for independence in Kenya. 1. Some led their communities in the struggle against the establishment of colonial rule. Example, Mekatilili Wamenza. 2. Some encouraged their communities to fight for freedom. Hiji Muthoni Nyanjiro, who in 1922 urged the men to storm the police lines in Nairobi and secure the release of Harry Thuku. 3. They mobilized material and financial resources for the nationalist struggle. 4. They provided food to the Mau Mau freedom fighters who were holed up in the Mount Kenya and Aberdare forest. 5. Some, for example, Field Marshal Muthoni actively participated in the Mau Mau War. 6. They provided military logistics and intelligence information to the Mau Mau fighters. 7. They boosted the morale of the nationalists as wives, for example, Mama Ngina Kenyatta. Women were the pillars of domestic wealth creation in the absence of the men who were actively fighting against the colonialists. They provided comfort to the male soldiers. They provided the morale that was necessary to boost and sustain the nationalist struggle. 19A. State 5 grievances which the Africans in Kenya had against the colonial administration by 1923. Land alienation, forced labor in settler farms, taxation which was used as a tool to force Africans to seek employment. 4. The Kipande system. 5. The reduction of wages. For example, in June 1921, wages paid to Africans were slashed in an attempt to make them stay in employment for a longer period. Lack of representation in the Legislative Council. 7. Restriction from growing cash crops. 19B. What were the terms of the Domsha White Paper? 1. It declared that Kenya was primarily an African country, with African interests being paramount. 2. It ruled out further advance towards self-government under European rule alone, hence no further constitutional privileges for the settlers. 3. It reserved the White Highlands for European settlers only. Asians were allowed to elect 5 members to the Legislative Council on a communal rather than a common electoral. 5. It ruled out racial segregation in residential areas and restriction on Indian immigration. 6. African interests were to be represented in the Legislative Council by a nominated missionary. Section C, 30 marks, 20A. Name 5 symbols of national unity: the coat of arms, the loyal pledge, the presidency. National awards and National Assembly. 20B, discuss the factors that limit national unity. Unequitable distribution of resources. This may cause divisions among members of the Kenyan society. It causes an animosity between those favored and less favored by the administration. 2. Corruption. The act of giving and receiving bribes militates against national unity because it favors certain individuals who are able to get services from the government and private sector is faster. 3. Racism. Discrimination on the basis of race creates disunity. 4. Tribalism creates animosity between communities. 5. Nepotism, that is favorism of one's family and relatives, creates resentments towards the perpetrators. Religion. Religious differences may at times cause disunity among the people. 7. Multipartyism. The existence of many different political parties may lead to disunity due to different party ideologies. 21A. State 5 functions of Kenya Police. Maintenance of law and order. To prevent and investigate crime. To arrest suspects and take them to court. To prefer charges against suspects. To investigate vehicles and ensure they are roadworthy. To recover stolen property. To assist international police, that is Interpol, to combat crime. 21B, discuss the challenges facing police officers in Kenya today. 1. Inadequate means of transport, as some police stations do not have adequate vehicles or some areas are inaccessible. This makes it difficult for the police to assess scene of crime. 2. Poor working conditions. Some of the police stations are dilapidated and lack basic necessities, for example, water, stationery, etc. 3. Increased crimes rate due to unemployment and drug abuse, among other reasons, poses a challenge to the police. 4. Of rapport between the police and the public. This sometimes makes members of the public not to report crime and hide the criminals. 5. Availability of sophisticated weapons in the black market. Some criminals possess more powerful weapons than the police. Set personnel to effectively combat crime. 7. Corruption. Some members of the police force are corrupt and this compromises the effective efficiency. 8. Some police officers are threatened by criminals and this demotivates them from doing their work. 9. Delays in protection of suspects in the courts demotivates them. 10. Some criminals enjoy protection from some powerful individuals, which leaves the police helpless in combating crime. 22A. State 3 domestic sources of revenue. Direct taxes, for example, income tax. Indirect taxes, for example, customs duty. Sale of licenses, for example, business, road, and driving licenses. 4. Profits made by parastatals. 22B. Discuss the challenges faced by the government in the implementation of a national budget. 1. Increase in population. Kenya's population growth overstretches budgetary allocations in departments such as health and education. 2. High interest rates on loans borrowed from international communities. Sometimes this forces the government to abandon some projects to finance loan repayments. 3. Natural disasters, for example, floods, drought, and famine. Disease interferes with the implementation of budgetary proposals, as money has to be used to cater for the needs of the people at such times. 4. Inconsistent economic policies interfere with implementation of budgetary proposals, as original projects are abandoned and new avenues of expenditure are created. 5. Corruption or misappropriation of government money by some individuals in the government. This renders some projects incomplete at the end of the government financial year. 6. Tax evasion by some individuals. This slows down implementation due to lack of revenue. Did you understand? Kindly let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know what video to look at tomorrow. Thanks a lot for subscribing and listening to me. God bless you.